It's July 12th, 2022, and this is Sketchworks NewsBrake. The news stops here. I'm Brian Troxel, and I'm as unique as a breakfast taco. In Delaware on Sunday, President Biden encouraged abortion rights activists to keep protesting. He then hopped on his bicycle and sped away. President Biden's approval rating is at a whopping 33%. And a new poll from the New York Times shows most Democrats do not want him running for re-election. President Biden says he plans to run anyway because he bought a brand new pair of aviator sunglasses just for the occasion. 33%! Even my approval rating is higher than 33% among my ex-girlfriends. Phew. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh left a Morton's Steakhouse in Washington, D.C. after abortion rights protesters gathered outside to yell at him. Now, Kavanaugh will just have to go to another state for his steak or get a back alley filet mignon. Representatives of Morton's Steakhouse defended Justice Kavanaugh's right to eat there, which makes perfect sense, actually, because if Brett Kavanaugh were a restaurant, he would be a Morton's Steakhouse. Morton's Steakhouse plans to capitalize on the controversy with a new steak called the Washington, D.C. Special. It's a very well-done chunk of meat, slathered in ketchup, and thrown against the wall. Your choice of sides include mashed potatoes, asparagus, and a subpoena from the January 6th committee. Speaking of January 6th, while America is still figuring out how to handle the failed insurrection from a year and a half ago, Sri Lanka is showing us how it's done, baby! In news out of Japan, Shinzo Abe, the former Prime Minister of Japan, was assassinated at a campaign event in Japan. Said Donald Trump, "That Chinese guy?" Speaking of former prime ministers, the big news from across the Atlantic is, of course, that Tom Cruise sat a few rows behind Princess Kate at Wimbledon. The second biggest news is Boris Johnson has resigned as British Prime Minister. Johnson was described on Sketchworks NewsBrake as Monty Python Trump back in February 2020. That was pre-pandemic. Among the possible hopefuls to succeed Johnson as PM are former Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak, former Equalities Minister Kemi Badenoch, and the frontrunner, Screamin' Prince Louis. Ah, thanks for the memories, Boris. Partygate, the crazy hair, the list is many. Now we have to go back to making jokes about our shit show government. Gas prices aren't the only expenses going up and staying up. If you've been to the grocery store and care about the money you're spending, you've probably noticed that prices on fuel for your body have also creeped up. Here is Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent and frugal by necessity Allie O'Neill with some more money-saving advice.
Back in April, the U.S. Department of Agriculture predicted that food prices would rise around 5% this summer, a prediction that has now been modified to 8%, and we are all feeling the effects of it. So today, I'd like to share with you a nutritious and delicious meal from my childhood that not only incorporates all 4 food groups, but is also easy on your wallet. To make this, you'll need 2 pots, a colander, water, milk or milk substitute, butter or a butter-like substance, a box of macaroni and cheese. I'll be using Cheese Club brand from Aldi for 47 cents, a pack of hot dogs. These were 99 cents at Aldi. And some ketchup, which can be obtained for free by visiting your local packet drawer. First, we're going to make the macaroni by following the directions on the box. While you can boil water on the stove, I find it's quicker to use the electric kettle my roommate left behind when he moved out. Next, we're going to drain the pasta, but don't pour all that good water down the drain. We're going to transfer that water to our other pot for Step 3. Boil the hot dogs. You can use as many or as few as you want. I'll be starting with 2. While those are cooking, add the milk, butter, and cheese to the macaroni and stir it in real good. When the hot dogs are done, slice them up and mix them in with the macaroni. Serve hot and garnish with ketchup. And there you have it, a simple and cost-effective meal to get you through the hard times. Tastes just like home. For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Allie O'Neill.
Thank you, Allie, for that tasty recipe. Canada will throw out 13.6 million doses of the COVID vaccine. Sources say Canada would also like to throw out American tourists after reopening their borders last year. While we're talking about COVID, look out, Omicron. There's a hot new coronavirus variant on the scene, currently making waves in India. It's called the BA because it's badass. It doesn't follow the rules. Oh, you got vaccinated? Psh, it don't care. It's badass and will infect you anyway. Oh, you think you're cool because you've already had COVID and you didn't die? Psh, it's more badass than you, and it will take you down in a death match of the ages. Oh, you think social distancing can help keep you safe? Psh, it's badass and knows that nobody actually cares about social distancing anymore. Hey, you remember when we had to stay 6 feet apart? Now we're all up in each other's business again. It's kind of neat, if I'm being honest about it. An Instagram influencer was forced to use a wheelchair after she held a fart in for too long. These are the health risks women face when they are forced to carry their farts full term. Remains of a South Carolina man who died 2 months ago were found under a large machine at his workplace. As a public service announcement, please check under your heavy equipment, because you never know what's lurking under there. Elon Musk says he's no longer going to buy Twitter. He initially said he would pay $44 billion. Then he realized he could just download it for free from the App Store. An article published in the journal Blood Advances, or Blah, finds that black leukemia patients have a higher rate of death than non-black leukemia patients. Why is that? Because leukemia is a racist bitch. Scientists in California may have unlocked the secret behind a potential cure for baldness. This sounds like a story for Sketchworks NewsBrake correspondent and local bald man, Tim Millard.
You know, there was a time in my life when I could do this non-ironically. But thanks to modern medical science, I may finally have the wind blowing through my hair after 20 long years. University of California Irvine scientists say they figured out the genetic process behind hair growth. They realized the cells behind hair growth send signals to follicles to either grow or not grow. It could be a cure for alopecia and baldness in general.
Oh, wow!
It could also give Will Smith one less reason to slap Chris Rock. Me? I started going bald when I was in college, so it's been a hot minute since I've had a full head of hair. But oh, the possibilities. The possibilities. The possibilities. The possibilities. The possibilities? Until then, I'll just make do with what I have. It's not the same, though. For Sketchworks NewsBrake, I'm Tim Millard.
Thank you, Tim, for that tasty recipe. 25 Republican state senators in Ohio were mailed envelopes filled with feces. A representative for the U.S. Postal Service asked the public to stop mailing their crap because the Postal Service stinks enough as it is. Elsewhere in the bowels of the U.S. Postal Service, they have decided to enact a 6.5% rate increase that will go into effect this Sunday. "Oh no," said nobody at all. 2 men caught fire at Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop store in the Hamptons. Ever the sadist, Paltrow was inspired by their misfortune and created a new candle scent called Men on Fire. Speaking of catching fire, a Spirit Airlines flight caught fire in Atlanta. Passengers were just happy the flight wasn't canceled. Staying in the Atlanta airport, as so many of us have, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport is receiving $40 million in government funds to upgrade Concourse D, otherwise known as the random concourse that's boring and doesn't have a Chick-fil-A. Maybe they'll put in an arcade and a couple of pirate-themed rides. Oh, now I can't wait. U.S. Senate candidate Herschel Walker came up with a new way to explain air pollution. I could explain it for you, but you should hear it from the candidate himself.
But since we don't control the air, our good air decided to float over to China, bad air. So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space.
Thank you, Herschel, for that tasty recipe. In surprisingly related news, the Walker campaign has replaced its political playbook with a book of Mad Libs. The FBI is still searching for the Georgia Guidestone bombing suspect. No one knows who put the stones in Elbert County or what they really mean. Just like Stonehenge. Only these were made in 1980 and no one cares. Chinese scientists have used a giant space sail to remove space debris. Sources say the space junk was disposed of on the Jersey Shore where no one noticed. Not even Snooki. Hey! While we're hanging out in space, NASA scientists say the surface of the Bennu asteroid is similar to a child's ball pit, but with way less poop. At a park in Sanger, California, a woman was caught on video setting a man on fire. The man suffered non-threatening injuries, and the woman was able to post bail thanks to an anonymous donation from Gwyneth Paltrow. AP News reports this week the U.S. labor shortage is offering an opportunity to former prisoners because everyone deserves a second chance at being exploited by capitalism. A U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled against former Alabama Senator Roy Moore's $95 million lawsuit with comedian Sacha Baron Cohen. Comedy wins in court again! Due to a chemical contamination, Bumblebee Foods is recalling their 3.75-ounce can of smoked clams. But don't worry, the food won't be wasted. It's been acquired by Spirit Airlines to serve on their flights. Swimmers in Lake Eufaula in eastern Oklahoma have reported strange red hives known as swimmer's itch from parasitic larvae. Friday the 13th made me stop swimming in lakes a long time ago. The Wall Street Journal reports pro wrestling mogul Vince McMahon agreed to pay $12 million in hush money to 4 women he suspected of sexually harassing. And you thought pro wrestling was fake. Actress Beanie Feldstein announced on Instagram that she is leaving the Broadway revival of Funny Girl because of the producer's change in the play's direction. Once she leaves, the musical will be called Unfunny Girl, and Feldstein will be replaced by Greta Thunberg. That's all for Sketchworks NewsBrake. We'll be back next week, and we hope you are too. I'm Brian Troxel. Say hi to your mom for me. She gives me the swimmer's itch.
On all 50 states in the District of Columbia to seek to terminate the presidency and maybe save her life. When tens of millions of women vote this year, fastest way to restore Roe than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. This is the first use of a weapon to murder someone in Japan.